that's like a 25-minute reset, but
Okay.
yeah, I'm pretty confident that I did get it.
So picking Bulbasaur, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Bulbasaur is picked for a couple of different reasons. There are 2 different strategies to get through the early game, and we might see one or the other because of the marathon. Normally, world record attempts or like very good PB attempts would always go for the what's called Pidgey strats, which involves getting exactly 16 special on the Bulbasaur. The backup strategy is, all right, you got the train ready. That's good.
Yeah, 11 special's not great, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Right. The backup strategy involves setting up your PP in certain ways. So the reason why Bulbasaur is best for both of those is Bulbasaur has the highest special attack, or special stat in Gen 1 from all 3 of the starters. And it's also the one that actually has moves that will work for the PP strategy. You need a move that has at least 36 PP. Squirtle doesn't have a move with 36 PP until later, and Charmander doesn't gain its 3rd move until level 9, which you also need a 3rd move, so it just means Bulbasaur happens to be the best for both.
Bulbasaur unfortunately has the worst accuracy.
Yeah, this fight is pretty tricky. Because the Charmander doesn't know something like Tail Whip, it only knows Growl. You could be sitting here for a while. We do grab the backup PC potion in order to make sure that we can make it through the fight. But I mean, even with the extra 20 health,
yeah, you can
can
still die. And so we went from 11 special at level 5 to 13 at level 6, so it's a 50% chance we get 16 special at level 8. But I can't get experience on Route 1, because if I did and didn't get 16 special, I would skip the level I learned Leech Seed, and in Gen 1 that means you don't learn the move. And you need 3 moves to do the PP strats. So unfortunately I just have to go through and take all the encounters, and none of them will be useful.
So this is your typical Gen 1 start of a run. Beat your rival, go get the Oak's parcel, go back. Once we get back to Viridian City, we're going to do a little bit of shopping, and then do our first RNG manip of the run for an actual wild encounter. So there are going to be, like I mentioned, a ton of RNG manipulation, or a ton of RNG manipulation in this run. Most of them are going to be to get a specific encounter. Anybody who's done like Gen 1 glitchless, or maybe some of the category extensions, things like that, know that RNG manipulation can be used for a bunch of things. You can use it to give you a specific Pokemon, like with specific stats. You can use it to manipulate the first turn of the fight. So a lot of times when you're catching a Pokemon, that's going to be, let me throw a ball on the first frame possible, or close to the first frame possible, and then that ball will be guaranteed to catch. The first manip we're going to do is going to be both a specific encounter with specific stats and give us a guaranteed catch in the first ball that we throw. So it's actually a pretty involved, like, it's going to seem very small and like unimportant, but it's actually a pretty involved RNG manipulation.
Yeah, the important thing is that it has to be a Pidgey with specific HP. So we manip one with, I believe it's 17 HP.
Yep. Before RNG manipulation, you would have to try and get a Pidgey in the grass that he's going to go to north of Viridian City. The Pidgeys there can either be level 3, 4, or 5, and the HP values for those Pidgeys could be anywhere from 15 to 20, I think.
Yeah, something like that. And level 3s were guaranteed, so it was nice when you found one of those, but you had to kind of hope on the other ones.
Yeah, because the only HP values that work among 15 to 20 is from 15 to 17. So if you got a level 4, it wasn't 50-50, but there was close to like a 50-50 chance that it was, workable or not. And if you had a level 5, you basically had to damage it in order to get it down to a right HP value. So here we're going to do that RNG manipulation. Every RNG manip is going to look kind of the same. We're going to do a hard reset. How we get through the intro is going to be different on each one. Some of them are going to be the same, but a lot of them are going to be different. There's a ton of different ways you can buffer through the intro. It's also worth noting that for all these RNG manips, there really aren't any like frame perfect tricks to it. You will pretty much always have some sort of window to buffer inputs. There's the YOLO ball.
All right.
Very good. So even though we might have to do the backup, which involves setting up our PP values and makes the Pidgey pointless, it's still worth catching a Pidgey here. The only other place really in the route that you could get Pidgey, your box space is a little bit tight. In this game, there's 20 spaces in the Pokemon box, and if you fill up that box, you have to go back to a Pokemon Center. Oh, man. You have to go back to a Pokemon Center in order to change the box. So getting a box full when you're on a random route, especially in this category where those random routes are probably glitched in some way,
oh my God.
Is very bad. Wow, this is really unlucky.
Good old marathon luck. So for anyone who doesn't know, I'm walking a specific path through the forest because the tiles that have the little flower in the bottom right can't generate encounters. And the encounter rate is extremely low in the forest, so getting to that early is really unlucky. Pick up the potion, never mind.
3 encounters before Bug Catcher, nice. What a way to start off the PSR marathon.
So since it's only 50-50, if I get 16 special, I'm going to Growl the Weedle on turn 1 just in case, because it gets my Growl PP down by 1 and also lowers the amount of damage I take by 1 from each Poison Sting.
Yeah, this fight isn't as bad as it is in like the Red Glitchless, for example, because Bulbasaur is part poison. It cannot be poisoned itself, so you never have to worry about taking the passive damage or wasting time that way. But if your Bulbasaur doesn't have very good stats, you can see he's doing like 2 damage per turn. If you have good attack, you can do a little bit more and make it a 7-turn fight as opposed to a 9-turn fight. But
yeah, and I think I have bad attack, so it's 9 turns. And the great thing is if you crit, it doesn't save a turn. It just wastes time.
Yeah, you have to crit twice in order for it to save a turn. But yeah, so after this fight, he's going to go up to level 7. He won't have 16 special at level 7 just because he had 13 at 6, so it's not possible. But there's a chance still, I think, that he'll have
14 special. Yeah, I actually don't know.
I'm not sure.
I think there's one DV where it works, so I'm gonna set up PP strats anyways because I have a Metapod.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, so for PP strats, we need to have 36 Growls remaining and 16 Tackles remaining. We also need to put Growl in slot 3 and Tackle in slot 2. So I'm going to use Growl here to set up that PP and then start tackling. We do want to defeat this encounter, but by growling the first couple turns, it lets the Metapod set up its defense a little bit. So that way you're doing a little bit each turn. If he critical hits, it's going to ignore all the stat changes and just do a ton of damage, but it's a Bulbasaur. It's not going to crit that often.
I didn't really want that miss.
That miss, yeah. You do have to defeat this Metapod, so...
Yeah.
And he can only use, at this point, 2 more tackles, including this one. So...
Now I have to Leech Seed it, which takes forever. Classic Marathon. Watch me, I'll get 16 special after this too.
Yeah, you're gonna get it anyways.
Luckily he had low enough health that I have enough Leech Seed PP to stall. Just. And Leech Seed PP doesn't matter for the glitch, so... Alright, let's see if I got the... Of course I did.
Did you really?
I did, yeah. I think that's a single DV that goes from 14 to 16.
That's amazing.
Which is why I didn't risk it and just wasted like a minute.
That's fine. Alright, so now we're going to do a bit of shopping. Main reason for this shopping here is to both set up our money, although that's a little bit less important at this stage, but it's also to get ourselves up to 6 total items. He's going to move his cursor to save, and then we're going to do the first real glitch of the run, which is a glitch that a lot of people have seen. This is Brock Skip. So normally this guy here doesn't allow you to leave Pewter City without defeating Brock. However, you can go up to him, save right after his dialogue, and then when you reset the game, you can just walk right past him. But because of the extra setup we did, we're going to get to go a little bit further.
Weird, I don't know if I've ever had both Pidgey and PP strats set up at the same time.
I know. So yeah, as you can see, we're walking through walls now. So the way that this works is the game never expects you to talk to him or talk to that guy from the right-hand side. And normally when you talk to him, it checks for your coordinates in memory and then finds the script that's supposed to run based on those coordinates. Because you're not supposed to talk to him from the right side, those coordinates don't exist. So if you normally just talk to him without doing any sort of setup, you just lock up the game. It doesn't work because it's continuously searching for those coordinates. Those coordinates happen to be 16 by 36, which is the value of our PP, but also the values 16 for Bulbasaur Special and 36 is Pidgey's index number. So by finding the coordinates in memory in a place where we consciously put them, we're able to trick the game into thinking that something is supposed to happen. And because an event is happening, it removes collision detection. But we also overflow the buffer that prevents the joypad input, so like D-pad and everything. So as long as you're holding B throughout that section, if you're not holding B, it's going to open up your start menu. As long as you're holding B through that section, you can walk, and you can walk basically anywhere. There is a true out of bounds that will crash the game, but you can walk through walls just fine, as long as you know where you're going.
Yeah, and it's interesting that if you do PP strats, you actually don't have to hold B. You can just walk. And I think with certain Pidgey value, HP values, you can actually just walk as well. It's specific Pidgey HPs that you have to hold B for some reason. So more RNG Manips. This one is a bit of a unique one. We're not actually going to catch the Pokemon at the end of it. But you're going to see a bit of a glitchy side effect of it. So you can see we get the encounter right in front of this guy, and we're going to actually die to this Spearow. And there's a Battle Manip to make sure he pecks you every time. And then when we die, you can see the trainer sees us as we're warping away, which is called a Death Fly, which is a variation on a glitch a lot of people like to call the Mew glitch, because it's how people used to get Mew back in the day. But you can use it to get pretty much any Pokemon. So we go back to the route and it triggers an encounter. But we're using it to get Missingno.
Yay!
And Missingno has the property that a lot of people... Wow, I ran from it. Okay.
Wow. Yeah, because that Missingno is level 80, it's faster than you, so you have a really low chance of actually running away. And it has Sky Attack, which is a 2-turn move but can miss, and Water Gun, both of which, if they hit you, will KO you. So you're pretty likely to die there. There are 2 different manips that you might have to do here, depending on if you run away or not.
Yeah, and then now it's time to do the manip I haven't practiced, because that never happens. Alright. So there is a battle manip here too. And I missed it, because I'm not used to the timing on that one. Hey, he still scratched me. Left me on 1. So if you get scratched with the manip, it kills you in 1 shot. Alright, nice. It's not too bad. Yeah, so I got interrupted by running, but Missingno will add 127 to your 6th item slot's quantity. So wait, I almost went back to the route. I'm talking.
Oh yeah, I was like, wait, did I miss something?
But yeah, so we dupe items, and what we're trying to do is get a stack of 255 because it has some cool properties. So Missingno again, and this time we're not going to try to run, we're just going to try to die because we want to warp back to the center. And we got Water Gun, so that's good.
Did you toss your 2?
I did, yeah.
Okay, good.
So now is where the game really falls apart, and I'm going to stop talking for this one.
Do you mind if I commentate over it?
Go for it, yeah.
Alright, cool. This part requires a ton of thinking because there's a lot of menuing that we have to do. So I wanted to make sure. But basically, having 255 of an item is kind of cool, as you can see, because what the game does is when you throw or otherwise remove an item from your inventory, what happens is the game decreases your item count by 1 and then moves every item up in your inventory until it reaches the cancel button. The way it knows it reaches the cancel button is it reaches an item with a value of 255. So we sort of short-circuit that and trick the game into thinking that the cancel button is higher than it is. And the effect that that has is it duplicates that item, but because it's a real item and not a cancel button, we're able to still have access to do things with it. So by getting our item count down to 0, merging 2 items together, we trick the game into thinking we have -1 items. Games don't do negative numbers very well, so now it thinks we have 255 items, and we're able to get past our item bag, in this case, past our PC inventory box, to access other parts of memory. So now we have access to other parts of memory in the item bag, so we effectively have a hex editor that allows us to influence things just the way we would normally influence items. All of those things we talked about at the very beginning of the run, the trainer ID, the rival name, those are all things we have access to. So by setting those values in a certain way, it gives us access to certain items and certain quantities that are going to be really useful to us. Here in the PC, we're doing a bunch of things. One of the things he just did was change it so in the coin case, he has a ton of coins. He's going to be able to buy everything in the coin place. In the game corner, and now he's actually setting up trainer flies, basically, on a bunch of different routes. He's changing it so the map script is in a state that there's a battle stored there. So from this point on, occasionally when we go to a new place, it's going to pop up a menu and he's going to get an encounter. This is why. He's setting up these trainer flies now. Earlier, before the PC underflow stuff, he actually changed it so his warp location was in Celadon, which is why when he left Vermilion Center, he was in Celadon City. And now he's going to buy a bunch of items, and this is going to be done for 2 different reasons. The first is money is important. Money is one of those things we have access to in item underflow. So we're going to be buying specific quantities of things that are going to cost a specific amount of money. Sometimes because we need that item, sometimes because we need that quantity of item, and sometimes just to make our money work nice.
Also, we have instant text for the whole game now.
Oh, yes, I forgot to mention that. One of the things we have access to is our options, and we set it so we have instant text now. But yeah, so he's going to buy a bunch of evolutionary stones. This is going to be useful. We have a lot of Pokemon that need to evolve via evolutionary stones. We don't need 99 fire stones, but that's used for money reasons. And then another thing to note is because he was at negative items and now is buying a bunch of stuff, he's sort of rolled back into the positive side with items. And he's doing this to fill out his inventory, because once you get down to negative items, if you receive any items, you're going to start going back up above 0. And that'll just ruin your item underflow, and it'll start overwriting items in your inventory. So we get all the items we need and fill out our inventory so we have 20 items worth of items, for lack of a better word. And now we have all these items and access to item underflow once we toss a bunch of these Master Balls. And we're able to do some really crazy things. So this menu here, along with the one before, are probably the two biggest menus in the entire run. He's going to be doing a ton of things here. He's going to be getting himself a bicycle. Bicycle here is in the X coordinate slot. He's going to change it with the calcium, and by moving on the X coordinate plane, he's going to change it so now he has revives in that slot. Not revives, rare candies in that slot. Rare candies are obviously going to be very useful. He's also changing his map around a little bit. He's changing it so he is on the northern side of the map, like the very top of the map, and also makes it so there's a north connection to a different map. So if he moves one tile up now, he's going to be in a different place. And that place he's going to be going to just so happens to be the first place we're going to start catching Pokemon, which is the power plant. So you might notice when he moves, the music is going to change. I currently have it muted, but I'm assuming the music changed. And
it doesn't yet, actually.
Oh, it doesn't until you get off the bike. That's right.
Yeah.
And now he's messing with his map even more. He makes it so he can go here. This is a Voltorb, and this is our new main for the rest of the run.
And yeah, we have 255 Master Balls now, so catch rates aren't a thing.
Yeah, so all of the RNG manips we're going to be doing from now on are going to be to get specific Pokemon, sometimes with specific stats, but we no longer have to worry about that YOLO ball chance.
Classic
so yeah,
power plant not giving me encounters.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's worth noting, if you're confused as to what the map is looking like, just get used to it. This is going to happen pretty much everywhere. Some places we get to go to naturally and catch things normally, it's great, and then we mess up the map and go somewhere else. So you're not going to be looking at a normal Pokemon game pretty much for the next hour and a half.
Yeah, also this looks like a door, but I can't actually walk down through it.
Yeah, one of the side effects of messing with the map is you sometimes mess where the connections are and things like that. So even though it looks like he's at a door, he's not. So we're going to go ahead and self-destruct Voltorb here. That may look silly, but what we're going to do is actually use a rare candy to evolve it now into Electrode. Electrode is used because it is so fast. It's the fastest Gen 1 Pokemon. So it's going to be able to outrun almost every encounter that we face. The only things that outspeed it are like other Electrodes and Raichus in Cerulean Cave. But another side effect of dying and then using a rare candy is we're now in Red Bar. So Red Bar is going to skip a ton of different jingles. It's going to make it so like Pokemon cries are a lot faster. It makes it so...
Nice.
Hey,
when DSum works.
Haven't even explained DSum yet.
I know.
We'll get there. But yeah, it makes it so Pokemon cries are faster. You're going to notice this Dex registration screen is super quick. So it's all super useful. And we're actually going to be able to take that Red Bar state outside of battle. You're not going to be able to hear it go wee woo because this isn't yellow, but it's going to start skipping jingles outside of battle too, which is just mind-blowing.
Zapdos is too far away, so I decided to bring him to me instead.
Yeah. That's gonna happen a lot too.
Yeah.
We don't like walking places. Alright, so we just got our new main, which was the Electrode, and now we got our Fly Slave, which is Zapdos. And now this is kind of an interesting part of the run. He's, because of where, if you know how Power Plant is laid out, he's actually right next to a door. He's going to change it so that door brings him to Cinnabar Island. But because it's a sideways entrance, specifically like a left sideways entrance, if he happens to get an encounter on a specific tile, it actually like crashed the game if he walked through the door at that point. So he would have to like back up and then go through again. Didn't happen, which is nice, but it's always something worth noting. Also, Nurse Joy gives us fossils.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, so basically this game, if you can get text to appear on screen, it will honor it. And there's a slot in Underflow that allows us to change what certain text appears on screen called text pointer. So throughout the run, there's various times where we will just change what things say to get certain things. You're going to see my favorite example of it right after we leave this center as well.
Yeah, this one's nice because like we use those Revive 93 in order to get this text, and the Pokédoll 94 is like one off from the value that gives us the next text pointer. So we can just steal that item and use it later on. That happens actually an alarming amount in this category. Also, we're on the bike inside. We were like this earlier, but there was too much stuff to talk about, so I didn't mention it.
Yeah, there's another slot that's tile set, so we changed the tile set to one that allows us to bike. And so this is my favorite text pointer. You got an Eevee. You got an Eevee. And you can just fill a box with Eevees doing that. We're just going to get 3 for all the Eeveelutions.
It's the Eevee factory. So you'll notice that he moved one tile to the right before opening his menu again. There are going to be some items in the game that are what we call click items. Basically, they're glitchy items that have a ton of garbage text attached to them. And depending on where you are in the map, basically like that garbage text will interact with map tiles or something along those lines and make it so it's like super laggy. And you actually have to like hit B a couple times, sometimes up to like 15 times in order to move anywhere in the menu. So by moving one tile to the right there, that 44YY glitchy item was no longer a click item, and he was able to swap it out of his inventory into a place that's going to get like essentially wiped out when he moves to the next map. So there aren't too many cases of that. Like this is really tightly routed to avoid things like that.
We avoid all the click items now. It used to be a bit of a nightmare. Also, when you see the screen change color and all that, one of the slots is called the brightness slot, and by changing the value, it changes the palette. So you see that a lot in the run as well. Like right now, we changed the value for that slot to be whatever corresponds to this mess. Oh my god.
Wow. So here we're looking for Grimer and Ponyta, so naturally we get a Muck first.
Yeah. Muck is good though, because it means we don't have to evolve Grimer, but typically we accept that we don't find it here.
Yeah, pretty much everywhere we go in the game is going to have, here are the list of encounters that we need, here are the list of encounters that are bonuses. And so you never go for bonuses, like, alright, you always catch a bonus if it's on screen, except for like very specific scenarios, but you never actually like search for one of those bonuses, and this is one of those examples. So what he's doing right now is called desum. Desum is basically a way that we can predict what encounters are going to appear. in order for an encounter to be generated, there are two random numbers that get generated. The first one indicates, hey, there's an encounter that's going to happen. And the second one is what encounter is it going to be? So in order for an encounter to happen, you have to have the random number has to be less than the encounter rate for the area. So with this being Pokemon Mansion, it's probably something like 15. So a number between 0 and 255. If it's less than 15, it means we get an encounter. The second number is going to indicate what encounter... Second one is going to indicate what encounter we get. So if it's between 0 and 50, we're going to get the level 30 Grimer. Those aren't the exact numbers, but just for the sake of explaining it, those are now. We can't really predict what those two numbers are going to be, and they don't change predictably over time. However, the sum between the two is going to change predictably over time. And so because we know if we get an encounter roughly what the first number is, and we know what the second one is because we got the encounter, we can see how it's going to change over time. And by waiting a certain amount of time after an encounter, we put the D-sum, the sum between those two numbers, in a favorable position to give us an encounter that we actually want. Think of it like a Price is Right wheel. If you're spinning the wheel, when it gets to a certain piece of the pie, then we can continue on. There's another muck. That's awesome.
Now you get to try to explain LGs.
So this is a thing. This is called LG. LG stands for LOL glitch. And I think we have Lucky Typhlosion to thank. We have Lucky Typhlosion to thank for pretty much everything in this run.
Yeah,
But
that's what I like to
basically,
buzz now.
yeah, basically, we get an encounter. We use this 9F item that allows us to get access to our inventory while we're in the battle, but like as a normal inventory, not a battle inventory. Sometimes we're going to move after we use 9F, sometimes we don't. Basically, we're trying to screw up the map in a certain way, so that way we can read the map tiles to mutate the encounter that we just got into something else. And most of the time, we want those... we want the map to go back to normal, so what you'll see is he'll use 9F, mess up the map, flash the map to get everything loaded, and then go and like return everything back to normal, and then catch the Pokemon. And then another side effect of LG is you have to save and reset the game afterwards. Otherwise, the next encounter you get is what's called a Dittoized encounter. It will look like a normal encounter that has like a weird status, but if you try to catch it, it will be a Ditto. And it's just faster to save and reset the game than it is to like get one of those garbage encounters and run away from it to reset everything.
There are other ways to get rid of Dittoization, but none of them are readily available in most places.
Yeah, we are going to be using them in a couple places though.
And because you have to reset, we use that opportunity to manip rare things.
Yeah. And this here is probably my favorite part of the run, just because of me being a catch-em-all runner back in 2015.
Yeah.
You'll notice we're in Safari Zone, but we have Master Balls. That's because we changed what the map ID is that we're on. However, we don't just throw a ball from our inventory. We use that 9F item to give us a normal inventory. And that basically makes it so once we catch the Pokemon, the map never gets to reload. So we just start chaining Manips. We do a Manip, use 9F, and throw a Master Ball, and then save the game again before the map can load. And it allows us to keep chaining these Manips. You're going to see with the last one he does, he's not going to use 9F, and it's going to load a completely different map.
Yeah, because one of the things I did when I first got to Safari was to essentially change the map, and the game's constantly trying to load that map, and by using 9F, it can't, so we're just delaying that map transition until I don't use 9F.
Yeah, and just a testament to how tightly routed things are, after the last Manip, we're going to warp, I think it's to technically Route 10. It's not going to look like Route 10, but I think technically we're on Route 10, or actually Route 9. And then we're going to transition from that route to the next route to the south, which happens to be Route 10. Route 10 is a location that we stored one of those trainer flies way back in the PC underflow. And the Nidoran male that we're manipping now is going to have a certain special value that from trainer fly gives us a specific Pokemon that we need and is otherwise hard to get. So like everything just happens to work out perfectly for that.
Yeah, so Trainer Fly, the Pokemon you get, is determined by the special stat of the last Pokemon you saw. And so the special stat of this Nidoran happens to be the same as Scyther's index number. Not Pokédex number, but index number. Fly and just immediately get a Scyther unless I got IGT'd. I didn't. So there is an IGT there where you get a Nidoran that has the wrong special. So you get, I think it's like a Blastoise here or something, and you have to resave and do the Manip again.
Yeah, a lot of these Manips are very good. However, I think a lot of them weren't botted. Some of them might have been, but a lot of them weren't botted, and so the typical, you know, Gen 1 glitchless IGT 0 and all that stuff still applies here. Manips always have a chance to fail, so sometimes you get the Pokemon you want, it just has the wrong stats.
And what you saw there, I used the item Cancel, which is a class of item called a Jack item, because the first item that was ever found with that property was called Jack, which you're actually going to see later. It just allows you a limited ability to walk through walls and sprites. So that we can talk to this guy from the right again.
Yeah, it used to be a lot more prevalent in this run, but now we do so many map distorts that jacking through walls doesn't really have the same appeal as it used to, but it's still very useful.
This Oddish encounter is delayed for some reason, I don't know why. But you just kind of sit there and you can't move until the encounter triggers.
Game is thinking real hard.
Yeah. And those two were sort of a variation of Trainer Fly called Brock Flies, where instead of the last Pokemon's special stat, it's actually an item in a specific slot in your inventory that determines what you get. Which is why I swapped Firestones and Cancel before going for the second one.
And we actually had that same 16 by 36 coordinates in memory. It's just they were in our item bag. I think it's the full restore has an index number of 16, and the quantity of the full restore was 36. So yeah. It reads the item after it to determine what the heck to do. This is another LG. We're not actually going to be messing with the map. It just so happens that the map tiles on this specific tile work perfectly to give us a Mankey.
And remember not to reset early because it has extra text there.
Oh, yeah. A lot of times the Master Balls that we're throwing happen to be in our Trainer ID. Our Trainer ID no longer matters, really. We got the item that we needed from it. It was actually that 9F item. However, because we're throwing a Master Ball from our Trainer ID is changing. And fun fact, if people didn't know, the extra text you get that says, like, you're about to delete a save file, are you sure? Happens because it reads that the Trainer ID on the saved save file is different than the one you currently have. So it thinks you started a new game. So occasionally you have that little bit of extra text, and like the fastest way to reset in this game, like hard reset, is actually to hit the button on your GameCube, like either before or after you actually click yes to save. And if you're not expecting that extra text box, you can accidentally reset the game early.
Also, if you use 9F while holding down, you warp to this map. Which I did.
Yeah, I have no idea how this one works.
Me neither.
Usually I can, like, BS my way through most of the explanations, and sometimes I might be a little bit wrong, but like I get the point across. Like this one, I just have I can't even make up an explanation.
Yeah, me neither. Usually, it's really hard to avoid warping here by accident as well, because you try to go down and accidentally double input to it, and it's just awful.
Yeah, that's another thing is if you run Gen 1, you may know like some of the menuing techniques, things like double inputs and buffered inputs and stuff like that. All of those pretty much still work in this category. Some of them are a little bit awkward just because some of the menus are going to be a little bit laggier because you have glitched items now instead of just normal items. But they do still work, and sometimes they work when you don't want them to, and you can end up double inputting down and warping to that random map by accident.
So right now, because we flew away from an LG instead of resetting, we still have the red bar effect, what we call overworld red bar. I'm going to make sure not to... Okay. And so as you can see, the rare candies are going insanely fast, way faster than normal, but the effect ends as soon as you evolve a Pokemon. So I'm going to evolve all of these to within 1 of when they evolve, and then evolve all of them at once. And it also, in the box, skipped all the Pokemon cries from depositing and withdrawing and stuff like that. So yeah, this is one of the sort of more chill parts where it's just evolutions for a bit. There's a couple sections like this where you're just evolving for a couple minutes. Get to breathe for a second.
Yeah, this game is, just like other Gen 1 games, very heavy on not giving you time to take a break. You have like a little bit of time after every catch because of like the whole dex registration and everything, but typically when you're doing runs of this, you're using that time to mark the Pokemon in a Pokemon tracker. But like these evolutions here are a nice like breathing point to be like, all right, I got time, let me like recoup, take a drink, all that kind of stuff.
Mark things chat screaming at you that you forgot. Yeah, we choose specific Pokemon to use the overworld red bar effect on because they need a lot of candies, whereas a lot of the time we'll try to catch Pokemon at high enough level where they are only 1 level away from evolving.
And one of the nice things is some of the Pokemon that do have really high evolutions, things like Dragonite, because we caught it in a glitched way, it has a glitched level as well.
I have so many rare candies.
Wow. So you don't have to worry about like leveling all the way up to 55.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so
same with this Goldeen, I think is level 180 or something.
Right, and it evolves at 33, so I think you're a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, this section you want to be careful with your rare candy count because you actually want to use those rare candies for something later on. So typically, I think it's 42 rare candies that you want to use. And typically you get kind of close because you've got the Meowth, the Grimer, the Ponyta, and the Ammonite. All of them are like almost either 10 or close to 10 levels. However, we caught a Muck, so we didn't have to evolve the Grimer, and now we have way more rare candies than we need.
I have 7 extra.
That never happens.
I'm gonna use some of them to evolve.
Yeah.
The stuff I'm withdrawing now, and then I use some of them later if I have extra as well.
So something else that people don't necessarily realize because we didn't do it right away is when we're doing Overworld Red Bar, we're still in that LG state. So the next encounter we get is going to be that Dittoized encounter. And It's been so long since we did that LG that people usually forget. But what we're going to end up doing here is doing a RNG manip again for Sand Slash. And that RNG manip is going to have the hard reset that removes the LG state for us. Sometimes when we do Overworld Red Bar, we'll do a manip right after. Other times we're going to do, I think actually the next time, we're going to be getting a gift Pokemon. And receiving a gift Pokemon is another way we can get rid of that Dittoization. So by gift Pokemon, I mean things like getting a Hitmonlee from the dojo or getting a Pokemon from the game corner, stuff like that are going to be able to get rid of that Dittoization as well.
And you might be wondering why I didn't evolve all of those Pokemon fully. It's because it saves some scrolling in the menu to do it a bit later.
So Sandslash, not like a super useful Pokemon. However, it's kind of rare here in Cerulean Cave to just get naturally. And Sandslash doesn't really come at a great level. I think the highest level you could get it at is like level 14. And it evolves at 22, so...
Nice. So this section, there's no required Pokemon here. It's all bonuses, but they're almost all really valuable bonuses. So we try to get as many as we can without wasting too much time.
Yeah, and this is one of my favorite parts as well, just because every runner plays this like a little bit differently. Some people will do a little bit of farming on this floor and then do the text pointer to get Golem here. Some people will immediately go to the other floor and get encounters. Some people try to get out of here as fast as possible. So it really depends on the runner.
Yeah, what I do is I jack into the wall and then I try to get an encounter so that I don't have to go into the menu to get out of the jack state. And then whatever I get is whatever I get. And then down here, I typically try to find at least one good thing, and then as soon as I get a Pokemon that's awful to desum off of, I leave.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically it. One of the nice things is, like, the nice Pokemon to get here are Dodrio, Venomoth, and Kadabra. And all three of them are, like, right next to each other in the
That could
desum.
be Kadabra? Or Dodrio? No, it's Venomoth again.
Yeah, and so after a catch, you can desum. The timing for desumming after a catch versus after a runaway is like a little bit different. It's like a 3.5 second difference.
You're on the wrong floor.
Yeah, Rhydon's unfortunate to find.
It's one slot after the Kadabra I was trying for.
Right. But yeah, because those encounters are like right next to each other, instead of having like a 1 or a 1.5 second window to get the Pokemon you want, you have closer to like a 3 second window or a 4 second window to get something useful. Unfortunately, even though we can desum, could be the best desummer in the world, you still have to get the encounters. So.
And also, there's a 25% chance it just fails no matter what you do.
Yeah. At least it's better than yellow desum.
That might be Kadabra. That might have been the fail. That's a little far off. And that's what I was talking about. That's a horrible one to desum off of, so I'm just gonna leave without the Kadabra. Didn't get a Hypno either, which is a bit unfortunate, but
yeah, Kadabra's a really nice bonus to get because we're going to be getting an Abra later, but we're going to get it from the game corner, which comes in at level 6 as opposed to evolving at level 16. So that's definitely going to be a Pokemon that we're going to use Orb for.
Yeah, and the Hypno, not getting Hypno means I have to do an extra LG to get Drowsy at a high enough level. But Dodrio means we save 11 candies later, and Venomoth's good because we don't have to evolve Venonat, stuff like that. So this section really is about judging the risk-reward of spending more time or just accepting what you have and taking the time lost now or later. Just evolving all the stuff now because before we would have had to scroll down and then come back into our menu later and scroll right past these items, whereas now we're in a position where we have to scroll past them anyways to do what we're going to do next. Which is, again, I don't really like walking. So there's Mewtwo.
Yeah, this was one of the first map distorts that we did in the run. Like, even before we started doing connection warping and things like that, like, this was in the run. You just throw a Great Ball into the X coordinate slot, and it forces Mewtwo over to you. Or no, you take the Great Ball out, you put a Soul Badge there.
Bottom. That's Chansey, okay. Not gonna cast the Chansey now.
Yeah.
So now we actually want the map to go back to what it was before, so we undo this swap. There's a similar thing in most LGs is we'll mess up the map and then we'll put it back so that we can go back to the map we were actually on.
Fun little thing there. He actually tossed the entirety of an item, which you might think is pretty dangerous because it'll move every item below it up, which means every memory slot below that just got moved up one. However, there's actually like a fake cancel button just below that, so it actually doesn't mess up that much data. And the data it does mess up isn't really relevant to us, so...
Yeah, everything kind of gets put back into the right spot. So I need Magneton.
Yeah, if you ever hear somebody talk about like roaming data or roaming TMs, it's talking about that stuff down there. It's all stuff that gets reinstated when you enter a new map.
Now we're doing something called Crazy Warp. So once we're done with this encounter, I'm going to be on a really glitched out map with some sprites on it. And just so happens to be that this map has a value that we set up a trainer fly on earlier. Get the Alakazam. And then we're going to turn around and I might actually wait here to see... Oh, of course it's not going to do it, alright. So the Pokeballs on Crazy Warps occasionally act like trainers, but not even regular trainers. They act kind of like a spinner, which don't exist in Gen 1. And they'll actually see you like a trainer, and if you're more than one tile away from it, it'll actually move to you as well.
Really strange.
But it's random, like there's some value that's knocking around that once it gets to the right value, it suddenly faces your direction. So sometimes you can wait there for forever and it won't actually see you. Oh, Spearow, I'm actually not going to catch because this box is a bit annoying.
You go to like 4 different places where Spearow can appear, and you don't have to worry about evolving it into Fearow, so it doesn't matter what level you get. So this is one of those boxes, if you caught absolutely everything you could get, you'd actually catch something like 23 or 24 Pokemon, so you actually need to not catch some things. We already skipped a few things, like we didn't get Kadabra, didn't get Marowak or Hypno, but it's still worth, you know, trying to manage it a little bit, just to make sure we don't get a ton of Pokemon. Also, shout out to the Hooked Metapod.
Yeah. Yeah, so I
forgot you guys get it here now.
Yeah, I used 4 to, oh, of course, Drowsy when I don't have Hypno. I used 4 to generate an encounter, which you can only do on certain tiles. Most tiles, the game will crash if you use 4. And it just so happens to be that a Metapod comes out because of reasons, and you can catch it without it being Ditto because of more reasons. I don't know why I just ran from that. I need to do an LG, it would have been helpful. But yeah, so we catch it, and it's a super high level, so we evolve it to Butterfree.
For anyone who is familiar with the Catch-em-all run, like a few years ago, like if anyone saw Shenanigans do it at SGDQ 15, or otherwise anybody do it before like 2017. You may not have seen a ton of LGs, but what you probably saw were a bunch of Cool Trainers. Cool Trainer and LG are basically the same thing with reverse steps. Any Cool Trainer also works as an LG because they work in basically the same way. It's just how you access them is a bit different. One of the things that happened with a rule change we had a couple years ago is Cool Trainer is no longer allowed. So all those Pokemon are now LGs. And we found new LGs. We've removed some of them. It just made the run. The difference between LG and Cool Trainer really is Cool Trainer has a chance to fail or otherwise be delayed, while LG will work every time. Just makes it less of an RNG fest.
Yeah, and you saw me go into a trainer battle and then it just ended. I threw a Master Ball at the trainer Pokemon, and the game just kind of sees that you used a Master Ball and assumes the battle must be over, because Master Balls always end in encounters being done. So the battle just ends.
Why is Cool Trainer not allowed? Because it wasn't fun.
Yeah, a lot of the rules in this category were to keep the category runnable and active, because it was just becoming awful.
Yeah, it was, so there used to be a category of glitches called mass farming glitches. Basically, they were glitches that allowed you to stay in one place, fiddle with your menu, and generate encounters and catch Pokemon. The most famous ones of those are going to be things like LG Fly, OOBLG, and LWA, which is Lucky Wins Again. There's also an FTL, which is faster than LWA, but we sort of... LG Fly was okay for the funness of the route, but once it started getting to OOBLG and things that were even faster, it just came to a point where it was faster to do these stupid glitches than it was to just play the game. So we as a community had decided, let's change up the rule set, let's ban mass farming glitches, and at the time, Cool Trainer was the fastest way for us to get some Pokemon, and it was to the point where, like, the route at the time that we made the rule change probably had like 4 or 5 Cool Trainers, so if one of them failed, like, it was a pretty low chance for one of them to fail.
Well, I just threw a Master Ball at air. You can do that after any LG, and you can catch a Ditto that way. We do it here because this box is pretty much empty.
Yeah.
Whoops. Okay, well, I just changed boxes, so...
Oh, did you
I reset early.
before the... Oh, okay.
We did just change boxes. Every time you change boxes, the game saves, so I lost, like, pretty much nothing there. Oh, wow, it actually saved.
Wow. That's amazing.
I saw 63 Pokemon, I was like, wait a minute.
But yeah, so at the time there were like 5 Cool Trainers that we had to do. It was estimated that if we just removed all the mass farming glitches, we would have to do somewhere between like 20 and 30 Cool Trainers. So because of the volatility of that glitch in particular, we sort of decided to ban it. I think if Cool Trainer were allowed now, it wouldn't really change the category all that much. Like, things are so optimized, and LGs just help so much with the amount of RNG manipulation we have to do, that in almost every case, LG would just be better.
Yeah, I think really if Cool Trainer were let back in, it wouldn't even be let back in. It would just kind of be a non-issue at this point.
What does LWA entail? So LWA entails getting item underflow, messing with your menu for about like 10 minutes, and then generating a new Pokemon every 15 seconds, just by talking to like a Mart Keeper who happens to be like 2 tiles away from a PC. So you can change your box, and you can just fill up your box, talk to this Mart trainer, and generate encounters super quickly. Like, it's literally one Pokemon every 15 seconds. It is faster to catch every Pokemon than it is to catch something and evolve it. Like,
yeah, it's essentially half hour of button mashing. It's not fun, and nobody should run it. Which is, that's the reason why we changed the rules to be what they are, to actually have a category that was maintained as something genuinely fun to run, and still incredibly technical and crazy.
Here, there is a category extension for it. So let me,
I still have a Spearow because it's saved.
I can actually link the category extension leaderboard for you guys. There you go.
Oh my god, brain, please. Okay.
Yeah, so menus like this are kind of convenient. We need to use the leaf stone as part of this menu, and the leaf stone happens to be like, we're done with our leaf stones. We evolved the 3 leaf stone Pokemon, so we can do whatever we want with it. Things just sort of end up, I mean, they don't just end up working out that way, like they were routed specifically in this way.
Oh, I forgot to do something.
Oh yeah. But like it's kind of neat how the route like uses up all the leaf stones and then uses them, and in some cases will like discard them. But this here is a really cool text pointer. This one's close to the Eevee factory in my opinion. Nurse Joy is a Hitmonlee, and now we have Hitmonlee. And because we were in the LG state, you know that we are because we're gonna have Overworld Red Bar here. Gaining that Hitmonlee gift Pokemon removes the Dittoization, so we no longer have to worry about saving and resetting.
I remembered, slightly late, but I remembered.
Oh, Flash Ace PC.
I almost went to evolve. So that is the hardest thing to remember in the whole run, amazingly, to Flash Ace PC, because if you just open up your item menu, you would be way down in Underflow, but by flashing Ace PC, it gets your cursor all the way back up to the top, where your rare candies are, and it's just such an easy thing to forget, and it's in the notes in like 40-point font to flash it. But the problem is you have to be looking at your notes to see it, so everybody still forgets.
This orb session is a little bit lacking. Really, the only thing we're trying to level up is that Gyarados. We have other things to evolve, but they're all 1 level away, or in like Jigglypuff's case, it's a stone evolution, so it's really just for that Magikarp.
Yeah, there's a couple ones like that. There's even a section where potentially I'll have orb, but I won't actually orb anything. Like, it's faster not to orb.
Yep. So I realize it's a meme question in chat, but I guess it's worth actually addressing. A category like this doesn't exist in Yellow because nobody really likes Yellow catch-em-alls. It's like this, but with more restrictions, really. And to get Underflow quickly is kind of BS. So, yeah, Yellow 151 hasn't had the same rule change that Blue has had, but it's because of inactivity. The current fastest Yellow 151 run uses OOBLG to get like 60 Pokemon, and that's not including evolutions. That's 60 catches, and then you evolve into like over 100 total. But yeah, there's just not enough activity or interest in it to really warrant the rule change yet. So if people are interested, we can start working on it.
So the Hooked Metapod is another way to get rid of Dittoization. So we're going to be using it here and in a couple other places to quickly get rid of Dittoization. Again, if you use 4F in the wrong place, the game crashes. So it just happens to be a place with some places you can use it.
One of the worst sections of the run because Viridian Forest encounter rate is super low.
Yeah.
Although you got 3 encounters earlier, so...
Yeah, that's the thing. The encounter rate's super low when you want something. not going bad so far, but I probably just jinxed myself.
Yeah, like the nice thing about, like, it sucks because the encounter rate is so low, but it's nice because the Pokemon that you need, the only Pokemon you're actually trying to like find is Caterpie, and Caterpie is, I don't know the exact percentage, but it's got to be close to like 50% to show up.
Yeah.
We are gonna do another Manip at the end for Weedle, but that's a Manip. We don't have to worry about just finding it naturally.
Now we catch the best Pokemon, M. And when we get out of this Hook Metapod encounter, you'll see that the map is really messed up. But it still thinks we're in forest, so it has all the same encounters and encounter rate in the grass. So this little patch of grass here, we're actually going to try to get an encounter. So Weedle is a really good bonus to get here, and Kakuna has the same chance as Weedle, and I've got 2 Kakunas and no Weedles.
Nice.
And we distort the map like this because we need specific textures in specific places to do LGs, so that Ekans LG there only really works if the map's distorted like this.
And we don't restore the map back to normal because there's actually like a couple of other LGs we can do. Like the MLG was the first one we did, Ekans, and then we're gonna do Farfetch'd here. Farfetch'd, you have to take a little bit of a trip. Involves jacking through walls. He's not going to be using the jack item. He's going to be using 4. It has the same effect, but you can only use 4 on certain tiles. And I shouldn't even say use 4 because using 4 is actually incredibly bad.
Yeah, it's flashing 4, which for some reason still has an effect. Just bringing up the menu to use it. And the interesting thing is you can flash 4 and get into the jack state on any tile that is also an LG tile.
Yep. If you use it on a tile that's not, or flash it on a tile that's not an LG tile, it just crashes your game. As is the theme with most things if you use them incorrectly in this category.
Yeah, one slip of an accidental double input or a laggy item that drops an input, and you can easily crash the game. Oh, of course, I get a second Weedle. Ow.
Fantastic. 5%.
So like there, 4 is really laggy there on this map, so if you try to go too fast there, you're going to accidentally use 4 instead of cancel and crash the game.
Yeah, that's the other thing about trying to menu.
Oh, that's not right.
Trying to menu consistently in this is not only are some items laggy, some items are laggy in different ways depending on where you are.
Like, tossing the stack of J items there is for some reason really laggy, so if you go too fast, you end up just tossing one of them instead of all of them. So I have 4 extra rare candies for later. I have to actually remember that.
Oh yeah, you were at 6.
So this is actually the scenario where I don't have anything that could benefit from Orb, so I'm actually not going to evolve anything here. Normally you would evolve your Orb Pokemon plus everything else in the party before doing this manip. But it just kind of worked out. I don't have anything that would benefit from it. So we manip a 5% Dugtrio, I think it is, this slot.
It's either the 5 or the 4, yeah.
And of course, very often I tend to find another one as I'm going along. So the reason why it's faster to do this now is because you have to evolve, I'm kind of spoiling, but we're going to evolve M, and you have to evolve it after the Dugtrio manip. So we have to open up this menu and evolve something anyways, and so it's faster to only take one trip into the item menu rather than evolve the stuff that isn't M and then coming back. That isn't the case if you have something that can benefit from orb candies. Then it is faster to evolve that stuff before coming into this. So the best evolution in the game. Bet you didn't know Kangaskhan was an evolution.
Yeah, and this puts the game in a funky state.
Yeah, if I was to try to leave the cave right now, I can't remember if it's right now or after this encounter, but the game would actually crash.
It's after this one, yeah. So Diglett's Cave is a very unique place in Pokemon Red Blue. It is, I don't know if it's the only one, but it's one of the only maps that has no overworld sprite. So there's no objects on the map. It is purely a background. And so if you tried while you're in this state to load a map with sprites on it, it would crash the game. And that state goes away once he opens the menu. So he's actually even still in that state, even though he just caught a Diglett. You can see when he's biking, he's not pedaling.
I've never even noticed that.
Yeah, it's when you're not pedaling, you're in that weird state. I don't know exactly what the state is. You do this weird LG, but he's doing another LG here, probably the most scary LG in the run.
Yeah.
And because he opened the menu, he was able to exit the Diglett's Cave freely. But now this particular LG is very scary. It's very particular in the order you do everything. When it works, though, it is one of the coolest ones just to see. So there's your Lickitung. Now, part of what just happened is we changed it so when we go down the stairs, there are stairs in front of us. Don't worry about it. We're going to end up in Pokemon Tower. We don't have a Sylph Scope, but that's never really stopped us before.
Oh, good.
Oh, good. So as you can see, it's a ghost. Can't catch a ghost. So instead, we change our map. So we're not in Pokemon Tower anymore. So now we can catch it. It happens to be a Ghastly. Once we catch the Ghastly, it's going to load the map that we changed it to, which has a Trainer Fly stored. So the menu opens up immediately. We go into it. Here's our Magmar. Magmar came from the special value of the Ghastly. And you'll also notice there are item balls. If you remember from before when we did the Chansey Manip into Alakazam Trainer Fly, item balls are now Pokemon. So we can get ourselves a Vulpix, a Gengar, and a Fearow.
Yeah, this is another what's called Crazy Warp. This is kind of the original one as far as the routes that I've played.
Yes.
And
it wasn't always done.
Now I think there's 3 of them in the route.
Yeah, it wasn't always done like to this particular route, I think, but this was, I think, the first one that was really added.
Avoid that sprite on the right because it's a trainer that will come over to you. It's got quite a long sight range.
Yeah.
I think it has like 4 Pokemon too. It's really obnoxious.
Yeah, if you don't recognize where we are, we're on Route 21. This is the route just south of Pallet Town. Not a lot of people go to this grass, so... this grass in particular has 2 main Pokemon we want to catch. We want to get Pidgeotto. because the Pidgey we caught way back at the beginning of the run, if anyone remembers that, is only level 4, and we have to get up to level 36 for Pidgeot. So we catch a high-level Pidgeotto here. We also have to get Tangela. This is the only place in the game to get Tangela. So what we're going to be doing is looking for one of those two. Combined, I think they have something like a 20% encounter rate. But they're all right next to each other in D-Sum, so it's I won't say easy, but it's not the worst to actually get one of them.
Rat. Okay, well I need a rat, so that's fine.
Look at that.
Yeah,
we're gonna get one of them. We're gonna get one of them, do an LG, and then RNG Manip for the other one.
I actually didn't see what level that rat was, so I can't really D-Sum off of it, but let's get lucky.
I just missed it. You started saying that right as the stream delay went away from the Rattata.
That's close. The struggle is... Okay, good, it's Tangela. The 4% slot. So you need either Tangela or Pidgeotto, because we only get one Manip. Now I just need any encounter. Right. My brain isn't working. Yep. Right. On this one I have to flash A, because the map we go to, when we distort it like this, doesn't allow you to be on the bike, so it actually takes you off the bike, and we need to be on the bike for the Manip that we're about to do.
Yeah, this one, there's two places where we need to do that, where it's gonna take us off the bike. This one is the worst one to mess up because, yeah, it'll mess up your Manip. But the other one is just a convenience thing of just being on the bike when you reload the game.
Pidgeotto Manip is the worst one in the game. Okay. Those A presses are really weird and laggy and just...
Oh yeah.
Much preferred to get Pidgeotto and have to Manip Tangela, because the Tangela Manip's free.
Yeah, it's like a bit of a trade-off. If you get a Pidgeotto naturally, there's a chance that it's the level 30 instead of 32, and it learns a move at 31, so you'd have to mash through that little bit of extra text. It's not bad. That's just annoying. So one more LG here, and then we move on to the next section. I always like, it's total coincidence, but I always like how some of these things are like actually kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It's like convenient that things match up. So like when you're doing the Ivysaur Manip, you're using Leaf Stones, which Ivysaur is a grass Pokemon. When you're doing the Charmander or the Ivysaur LG, when you're doing Charmander LG, you have to mess with Burn Heals and you fly to Cinnabar, which are both fire related. Like there's like little things like that that kind of help you remember the route, because there's a extensive guide for this category that goes over every menu you need. It goes over every possible thing you can have to worry about. It has every Manip done in text as opposed to videos, which is really useful when you're just doing it on the fly.
I do.
Do you not have Orb?
Pidgeotto. No, I do. I just don't have Pidgeotto in my party for some reason. There we go.
Oh, okay.
I accidentally deposited Zapdos. It messed with me.
Okay. I don't have the sound for your stream, so I was like, wait, what is he worried about?
Also, Zapdos is in the way now because it's in the wrong spot. Just, yeah. Because every time I'm depositing or withdrawing something, I'm double inputting to it, and sometimes that doesn't work. But also, in this box, it was extremely full, so I only had one spare slot, so I had to deposit and withdraw one slot at a time. So Weedle, unfortunately, we have to evolve it twice, and we only get Orb once, so we have to eat some slow rare candies. There are scenarios where you actually do get to Orb all of its levels, but you have to catch it at a specific time in Forest, and it's pretty rare. But this is another one of those sections where you're just evolving a bunch of stuff, get a bit of a breather. Oh, and I have 4 extra rare candies that I have to remember.
For right now.
Yeah, this is when I need to remember. All that really does is it changes the order in which I withdraw certain Pokemon. So I have 4 extra. I don't need to evolve the rat. Pretty sure I messed up the order, but deal with it.
Really, it's as long as you get the Firestone poke in first, right? Or not first, but...
Am I losing my mind? I might have... I think I've got everything. I'm gonna check real quick. Nope, I don't have Charmander, so I gotta go back to the box. I had a feeling I was missing one. Okay, that actually meant I did withdraw things in the right order. Yeah, now I'm using the bottom stack because the number of candies I need to use now is the exact number I need to use to get the value of that rare candy stack down to what I need for the next warp. Which is that weird mirror symbol, which happens to be the symbol for 11 and then a 2. Alright, well, back to the PC. Right, oh god, no. Give me that back.
Ooh. Yeah.
I think that box is actually fine if it has an extra Pokemon in it, but I don't want to risk it. I think pretty much everybody who's run Catch 'em All has, at some point during a run, box fold on a Pokemon, and that's run over.
Absolutely. Like, sometimes for marathon reasons, you can make it through. Like if you box fold on something like a Spearow, you could just come back.
Yeah.
But you box fold on some specific Pokemon, like
a trainer fly Pokemon.
Yeah, then you're kind of screwed.
Interestingly enough, even though the rival's there, he doesn't talk to you because the trigger for him coming up to you isn't anywhere down here. It's up at the top of the map, so he just ignores you.
I love that.
Now, did another connections warp, so now we're on a completely different map. Right, I have Golbat in this run, so I don't need to evolve this.
Oh, did you not catch one in Moon?
That's a good point, I should have.
That's fine, I just...
It's so rare I have Golbat, I just forgot.
The best when you're like, you catch the Golbat, so you're like, I need a Zubat. I'm just gonna get it in Mount Moon because it's like 92%.
And then you get 6 Geodudes.
Don't get one. Yeah.
6 Geodudes, a couple Clefairies, you know. Yeah. Speaking of which, this is a really good victory road so far.
Yeah. Victory Road is kind of a tricky area. It has... So most caves in the game have lower encounter rate than like Route 1, for example. Route 1 has an encounter rate of about 10%, where Victory Roads is closer to like 4%. And that really hurts in this area, especially because all of the things that we need only have one slot with some exceptions. So like we need Machop, Geodude, Zubat sometimes, and Onix. Machop, Geodude, and Zubat all have one encounter slot, so if you miss that slot and happen to get an encounter like a half a second too early or a half a second too late, then you just miss it, and you have to search for another encounter. So it's a pretty tough area to do really well with DSUM. There are some manips I think they've gotten better, but they used to not be the best.
No, they still suck.
They still suck? Okay.
Yeah. We did find out that you have to get the encounter for the Machamp LG on the exact tile or they break.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay.
But even with that, they're still bad. Speaking of which, I have to do one now. Luckily, Machop is actually one of the better ones. Yes, someone mentioned there's something wrong with the cartridge. I should mention, I am actually on an actual Pokemon Blue cartridge. That's something that I get asked a lot, that whether or not it works on the actual cartridge, and it does.
Yeah, another thing that we get asked quite a bit, none of what he's doing is permanent. So like his cartridge, when he deletes his save file, goes 100% back to normal, like it never happened. So running this category, you don't have really anything to worry about in terms of like ruining your cartridge.
Yeah, as soon as you clear the save data, it's all gone. So this is another crazy warp. Talk to this guy, he's a Moltres. And this is the most likely spot where you'll see a Pokeball move to you, but of course it didn't do it. None of them saw me in the whole run.
Another thing that's kind of tricky with this section, you'll notice that like he's just on Route 11 now, right? But the map is a little bit deceiving. If he goes 2 tiles up, he'll crash the game because that's technically out of bounds.
Yeah.
So he has to be a little
right,
bit
I
careful.
need one of you still. Thanks for showing up.
Oh, I forgot you didn't get one earlier, yeah.
So did I, until I saw it. I mean, that's not a horrible one to be left without at the end, because I can just fly back here, but I'm glad that showed up. Whoops.
So another case of an LG that we're going to clear the Dittoization not by resetting, but by gaining gift Pokemon. This time it's going to be Pokemon in the game corner. So very early on during PC Underflow, we gave ourselves a bunch of coins. I don't know the exact number, but it's definitely over 10,000, which is going to make it be like a weird glitch number. But that's going to reset the Dittoization, so we don't have to save and reset.
Yeah, and I don't know if you mentioned this before, but it's actually it's getting a gift Pokemon with a full party.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know why that matters, but it does. So we buy enough Pokemon here that we have more than enough Pokemon to fill our party and then some. So now, because Chansey went to the box, or Clefairy, I should say, went to the box. We don't have Dittoization anymore, and we have Overworld Red Bar right now, which is why I accidentally went into the nicknaming screen. Because all that text goes by really quick, and the jingle gets skipped. And we're going to use that to Overworld Red Bar, some candies for a couple Pokemon here.
Both of these Pokemon are sort of conditional. Usually you don't get Machoke, so you have to evolve Machop. And same thing with Abra. Abra, you can get Kadabra, which obviously saves all of this time, but...
Yeah, this is why Kadabra is such a valuable bonus to get, because this takes a while.
Games Done Quack 2020.
Psyduck is one of the most annoying Pokemon to have to get.
Yeah, Seafoam. Seafoam is a place in this category.
Yep.
So after he's done with all this evolving, he's gonna use the Pokeflute on the Snorlax, and this is one of the things that is tough to remember. We mentioned how you have to catch the Moltres, and there's various things like that. If you're like a glitchless runner learning this category, it's very easy to just get in your old ways and use a Pokeflute, get the Snorlax encounter, and then run away from it. Because that's just what you're used to doing.
Yeah, there's even a reference in the notes to it that says, catch the Snorlax, keys are on.
Yeah, that's like a 4-year-old joke.
Yeah.
Touch this category since
there's also like catch the Mr. Mime, Shivu, and
I have the Moltres one.
Yeah.
Catch the Moltres etiquette. And some of these Pokemon, like the legendary birds, are some of the hardest Pokemon to glitch for. Like you can catch them naturally really easily, just get to the area and talk to them. But to actually like glitch for them, there's no good LGs. Trainer Fly's a mess. When we were doing mass farming glitches like OOBLG or LG Fly, like they weren't possible. Some of the Pokemon index numbers weren't possible to get, and the legendary birds were part of that. So like sometimes if you mess up a Pokemon, you can like bring it back, but other times it's really hard.
The duo is really nice to get here because that means I don't have to manip it. and manips just take too long.
The manip for this is one of my favorite stories in this category. So there's been a Doduo manip basically since this route has been more or less solidified. And it's one of those that personally I've never gotten to work, and I've always thought I'd either done it wrong or gotten IGT'd or something. Turns out the manip itself was like a 3 out of 60 manip. Like it was an IGT itself, and it just so happened that it worked like twice in a row for the person who found it. So we added it to the route, and then like nobody ever got it. So
that's really funny.
It's just one of those funny things that.
The one we have now is actually a real manip.
Yeah, but like without botting and stuff, you can only do so good. And botting for this is especially difficult because like you can't just take a random save file and get here. In some places, you need to have a glitched map. You might have to have specific inventory. You might have to have specific parties. So, like right now, it's actually very important that he doesn't have anything that has a status in his party. You may have noticed in a bunch of other areas, he's running around and having like the poison ticks everywhere, and that's usually fine. But for some of the manips, or one manip specifically coming up, he has to specifically not have a poison Pokemon in his party.
Oh no, don't use 4. Oh my god. That would have been kind of a bad one. We haven't saved for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, Hooked Metapod is faster than a reset, but doesn't have the same safety.
Oh no, I did that in practice earlier too. Couldn't remember which potion. I think it's the 6. Okay.
Last manip of the run.
So yeah, as we mentioned before, Seafoam is horrible desum because the encounter rate's really low and the slots we want alternate. Oops. That's me trying to get on the bike.
Nice electrode.
But of course we get a natural shelter. But yeah, the slots we want alternate. So as soon as you get one, and you're trying to desum for the other, you keep getting the one you already have because you hit the slot in between them or just to one side of it. It's really bad.
Yep. And like the desum charts we have try to account for it by like look for 1 second, wait for half a second, look for a half a second. But it's just,
yeah.
It's so hard to just like figure that out. Also, everything here is like can be 1 level away from evolving, but
nice.
Depending on like which encounter slot you get, you may have to
and
level
these
up a couple times. That was actually really good.
Yeah, these are both 1 candy away, and I got them pretty quick. Seal was lucky too because I got to the end of the desum chart without an encounter, which is extremely common here.
This is another one of those areas. It's 10 out of 256 to get an encounter on every tile.
I love the ridiculousness of what we do here. There's a legendary bird sitting there, but it's like, no, I'm gonna find a starfish and a crab.
They are more important at this point in time.
Okay, so immediate is crabby. Of course not. That's close, but okay, good. Alright, so Seafoam actually didn't troll us all that hard. That's, this is actually a really, really good Seafoam.
Just so easy to just keep cycling the same encounters, and like, especially you just keep getting the one in between the 2 slots you need.
I had a practice run during the week where on the first floor where you're trying to get Psyduck and Seal, I kept getting Kingler.
Oh.
And my box was really full, so I couldn't catch it. And I got to the end, and it was like, if I'd caught that Kingler, I would have box fulled on Jinx.
Yeah, because of the way the D-sum chart like wraps around, the most common slot is right adjacent to the most uncommon slot.
Oh, I'm stupid. Hold on. I actually have to get another encounter. I forgot to warp to the map where I actually need to go.
Oh.
I don't know if I can use 9F and warp there from here, but I'm not gonna risk it. I can still get encounters here. Of course, it's not giving them to me. So when you're in the LG state like this, you can actually get encounters on the map you're on. What is happening? I might just have to catch this.
How's your box looking?
It should be okay. So I'm gonna save and soft reset to get rid of the Ditto.
Okay.
Now it's weird. Usually you can get an encounter while you're in the LG state, but I don't know. Something might have broke there. I should still be in Seafoam. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Psyduck on this floor, please.
Yeah. Okay. And now I'm completely forgetting Oak's parcel, right? Alright, no box full. We're good.
Alright. So that's the last catch you have to do.
Yep. Yeah, now it's just evolving the rest of the Pokemon and hoping it's 151 at the end of it. Oh yeah, I had plenty of space in the box. We were fine. So... Oh,
2-star used to mess you up?
No, I just forgot to withdraw a Psyduck. I usually like to withdraw all the candy Pokemon first so I don't have to scroll more, but
Oh yeah.
it's not worth depositing the Staryu and withdrawing the Psyduck for. Also need to remember I need to evolve Nidorino as well, because it went into the box. I had to evolve Abra. I did have a practice run earlier where I got to the end and I had 150.
Oh man.
And it was a Spearow. Of all things.
I think the only time I've ever actually finished the run with only 50 or 150 was back before we had the Safari Manips and everything. I had marked a Doduo before actually catching it, and it ran away from me, and then I just never ended up getting one.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
That
I
was
had
back when the record was like 225 or something.
I had
before the
once.
rule change even.
I had once too where I forgot to catch a Diglett after Horsey.
Oh, that's a bad one. Like, it's easy to rectify, but it's really unfortunate.
Change box because there's not enough space to deposit everything. Oh no, that was a bad idea because I need to do the thing I even reminded myself to do, which is to withdraw the Nidorino.
You need the side up too, right?
Yeah, I got that.
Okay. I didn't see that. Alright.
So. Oh, cool, we're gonna have a glitchless run. I'm gonna go to the Hall of Fame with Nidoking.
Heck yeah. No one will know.
I'm sure there's nothing in the Hall of Fame that tells you that it's glitched. Wink, wink. Okay, so now it's the moment of truth. Hey, we have 151. Alright.
Woohoo. I'll be honest, you mentioned Spearow, and I was like, I don't remember you actually catching Spearow. I remember you running away from one.
Yeah, I caught it outside Mount Moon.
Okay.
Okay, so this is actually this is a really cool way to end the run. What we do is we just make it so that the Hall of Fame is right above us. And that way we just walk up from the PC into the Hall of Fame.
Yep. Northern Connection Hall of Fame. Now we're here. It's a little messed up. Don't worry about it.
With our Nidoking. With
Just like
our level 17 Nidoking. Beat the E4 and the champ with a level 17 Nidoking. What a legend. And then as you can see, our money has spaces in it.
You have owned 151. That's the important part.
And that is time.
Very nice. Great run.
Yeah. Yeah, didn't get trolled by much, didn't crash. So, 148 apparently? Yeah, I will certainly take that.
And like I mentioned, if anybody does want to learn this run, we do have like a really good guide. Always happy to help out new runners. Most of you guys are already in the PSR Discord most likely, but if you aren't, you can type !discard and join up there. And yeah, that was a hell of a run. Great way to start off the marathon.
Yeah, it was super fun. It's my first time doing a run in this marathon, so I really enjoyed it. I'd like to make a quick shout out to the Spanish restream. The guy doing the commentary for this run, Nyaki, I hope I'm saying that right, has spent the last few days desperately trying to understand what's going on so that he can commentate properly. And yeah, he's just put in a lot of effort, so I wanted to give him a quick shout out. But yeah, other than that, I mean, that's really it. Just a standard Pokemon run. Nothing too crazy, of course. But yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, make sure you guys follow Smurfy. You know, great Pokemon runner. Does some other games as well, as you guys heard in the intro show. So definitely make sure you check him out.
And thanks to you two for helping out with the commentary.
Absolutely.
This is such a hard run to both play and explain at the same time.
It's always a good time.